Hello, so I'm Larch Maxey. I am one of the weavers for the August Rebellion, and my role is to help support local actions to be as effective and empowering and supportive as possible. Obviously, the main ask of this rebellion is to get as many people in London as possible. But for those people that can't go to London or have to go to London and then come back for some reason, there will be this potential for local actions. And let's make those local actions as effective as we can. And the way we do that is by really trying to concentrate them to make them really focused. So rather than have 101 creative actions on 101 different targets, let's have 101 creative actions on one target if possible. This is about acting in service to the greater good, because we're out of time. We don't have enough time now to waste our time on actions that aren't going to be as effective as they can be. And I'm not talking necessarily about wherever you are on the spectrum of arrestability, going on remand or not arrestable actions. It doesn't really matter. What matters is wherever you are on that continuum, to do the most effective actions you can do. So this isn't about what's going to be fun or easy or what I've done before. It's not the lazy option. This is about thinking rigorously, telling the truth about the climate and ecological emergency, the fact that we're in this life and death situation. And given that every single day matters, what can I do with my action, with my capacity that I bring? What can I do that's the most effective? So if we're going to do outreach, we're not just going to give out 1,000 leaflets and think, oh, that's that job done. If you give out 10 leaflets and speak to 10 people and recruit 10 people, you get their names and contact details, you get them through those conversations, get them engaged and lined up with roles that they're going to play. That's so much more effective to give out 10 leaflets like that than to give out 1,000 and just see them thrown away in the bin. So that's an example of how we can be effective in what we do. So it's going to be tempting to do local actions on local issues, but this is a danger in terms of us spending our time on things that aren't the most effective they can be. Now, it might be that there's a local issue that's got a real leverage opportunity where you can really bring about change, and that's great. It might be that there's a local issue you can do that's going to bring more people in. So if you do outreach where you're really kind of bringing people in and offering them a clear pathway through to engagement so that they're getting really involved and become organisers themselves, it might be worth doing an action specifically to try and bring that about. So it's not to say only do local actions on the one target, but the focus should be what's the most effective thing. Is there a really, really good reason to do this action on a different target? The target that we're suggesting that aligns with the August Rebellion, that covers those 2 key weeks of the August Rebellion from the 23rd of August to the 4th of September, that immediate demand is to get all fossil fuel funding stopped and to fund a just transition. So if we're going to get the government to meet that demand, we need to really focus all of our efforts on that demand. And so whilst people are going to be in the City of London doing that and doing these crisis talks, we can also do stuff in our locality that focus on that. So we could do crisis talks in our locality where we bring people together around this idea of crisis talks. It can be disruptive in a road, or it can be in a market square or wherever. But in terms of targets, the target that we're suggesting is Barclays Bank, because Barclays Bank has already seen a series of actions through Money Rebellion. We've got loads of research into why Barclays is funding fossil fuels. So the demand here is aligned with that immediate demand. We'll get Barclays to stop funding fossil fuels and then get it to play its part in lobbying the government to stop funding fossil fuels. And to do that, we need to have this service disposition. What's going to be the most useful thing I can do? A targeted boycott of Barclays worked in South Africa in the 80s, where Barclays were totally pro-South Africa. They were funding South Africa just like all the other banks, but they were more exposed and worse at that than the others. So Barclays were targeted, and when 17% of their student market declined because of the campaign, they did a U-turn and pulled out of apartheid, and it was a massive part of stopping apartheid in the world. So this is a similar situation we've got with Barclays funding fossil fuels. All the banks are doing it, or most of them, but Barclays are particularly bad, and if we target them in a concerted way, then we can get them to do a U-turn. So the actions could be anything from, being outside the bank, talking to your friends who have got accounts with Barclays and supporting them to leave, and doing it in a way where they make that visible. They write to the bank and say, I'm leaving because of your funding of fossil fuels. we can do stickering and we can do these other things that have already been done, but let's also think about a trajectory of escalation. As we know from Gandhi, we have to bring about change through increasing pressure, building that pressure over time. So let's see how we can use this August Rebellion to increase the pressure on Barclays. So, you know, including these tactics that we're seeing done, like cracking windows, spray painting, going inside and handing out leaflets, occupying the bank. There's a whole range of actions we can do, and they can definitely include leafleting, awareness raising, creative art actions, but let's, whatever we do, make it as effective as it can be. Couple of more things I want to say. One is about budget. There is a small budget for this to support these local actions. So we don't want money to stop someone doing a high impact, highly effective action. We do want to encourage groups to fundraise locally for your needs, but we do have a budget as well. So let's try and maximize that budget by also bringing in funds. So yeah, we do have a budget, let's use it, but let's use it really creatively and carefully. Finally, if anyone has ideas, we'd like, if your local group could link in with us, that would be great. You could email me, so larchxr@protonmail.com, with ideas or questions. Now, I'm not the best at dealing with email, but I will commit to following those up. And also, if anyone wants to help coordinate these, that would be really helpful. So we definitely would want a local coordinator for the actions you want to do locally. But if anyone wants to help coordinate the different local groups, that would be really helpful. So please get in touch with me. So it's larchxr@protonmail.com. Really look forward to hearing from you. Let's do it.